Rhodes Show. Turn up your mind.
Two very telling races overnight. Let's start in Wisconsin, where liberal judge Janet Protasevich has now overturned and flipped control of the state's conservative Supreme Court. This is a big win for abortion rights and could mean that the court could overturn the state's abortion ban. They could also end the use of gerrymandered legislative maps, which have given Republicans commanding control of the state's legislature. Now, state Supreme Court races like this don't usually garner this kind of national attention, but this race is having a huge impact on the future of a very key battleground state. And Robin, it did become the most expensive judicial race in American history, with more than $40 million spent.
$40 million?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to Chicago for a moment. The race for mayor there, it was Democrat against Democrat. So what's the takeaway from last night, Mary?
The big takeaway is that this is a very big victory for progressives. Brandon Johnson, a union organizer, former teacher, is now set to become Chicago's next mayor. This was a close race, but Johnson had the backing of the teachers union. He was promising to invest in schools and social programs, and he was also vowing to address the root causes of crime in the city, where his opponent was promising to add additional police force.
Yes, this was really fascinating yesterday. Thank you, Wisconsin, for showing up, but not so much to the Milwaukee suburbs. The northern suburbs of Milwaukee, decided to put in another Republican in a special election in the state legislature in the state of Wisconsin, giving the state of Wisconsin Senate a supermajority by which they can now flex and impeach the woman you just voted to be the new Supreme Court justice. What a tangled web these conservatives weave. So you got the front attack, okay? You got the front, entryway right. You got that, assertive sort of a vote done yesterday. But I told you that, Wisconsin is a swing state. It is 50-50, right? It's 50% Democrat, 50% Republican. And the suburbs in northern Milwaukee are, very Republican, very red. And that is the District 8 in Wisconsin, that had to select in an open seat, a senator. And they chose the conservative freak. They remember that I was talking about yesterday, the guy Knoodle? You chose Knoodle. And Knoodle said, yes, I'm not interested in impeaching the governor, Tony Evers, because he's a Democrat, right? So therefore, Tony Evers is in their sights only because he's a Democratic governor. So he said, well, I'm not so interested in impeaching Tony Evers, but, Janet, maybe I would impeach the new Supreme Court justice, and maybe I would impeach, the Attorney General, and maybe I would impeach the district attorney in Milwaukee, John Chisholm, and maybe I would impeach some other people I don't like. And, Brett said, well, don't they have to have a reason to impeach? Well, legitimately, yes. Technically, no. But they're saying soft on crime, soft on crime. So now the Wisconsin legislature has a supermajority, meaning enough to override any veto by the governor of any damn thing, including abortion, election maps, redistricting, everything, right? The manner in which you select your electors. Yes, the Senate has a supermajority, and they can override the veto of the governor with their new supermajority. I think there's 33 seats in Wisconsin Senate, and 22 of them now, or 23 of them now, are in the hands of Republicans. In the Assembly, in the House, in Wisconsin's legislature, you're 2 seats shy of having a supermajority there. And you would need a supermajority in both houses to override a veto of the governor. But congratulations, Wisconsin. You just took a perfectly, a battleground state, a perfectly divided swing state where everybody got a say, and you just, through these gerrymandered maps, handed a supermajority to the Republicans, who can undo all the good that you did. So I don't want to, piss on your parade, because Dan Kelly was who Janet I can't say her name. I think it's Protasewicz. Janet Protasewicz is now she has just tilted the Supreme Court It was 4-3 conservative. Now it's 4-3, not conservative, whatever, moderate. But so she made her little acceptance speech yesterday, and she said, listen, Wisconsinites voted and they had their voice heard, right?
Today's results mean two very important and special things. Yes. First, it means that Wisconsin voters have made their voices heard. Yes. They've chosen to reject partisan extremism in this state. And second, it means our democracy will always prevail. Too many have tried to overturn the will of the people. Today's results show that Wisconsinites believe in democracy and the democratic process.
Well, I mean, I understand why she's taking a victory lap. It was a hard-fought campaign. There's no doubt about it. And the person that she was running against had already, been a Supreme Court justice. I think he did his 10 years. And through those 10 years, people complained about him. They told people who were voting for a new seat, for a new justice, that this guy was a problem. And people sort of rejected him. But he wasn't having any of it. The guy's name is Dan Kelly. You don't have to remember his name because you probably never hear from him again. But here's Dan Kelly saying, I really wish my opponent was worthy of a concession, but she's not.
Now, this didn't turn out the way that we were looking for. And I think there are a couple of reasons for it, and I think we need to address them head on. And it brings me no joy to say this. I wish that in a circumstance like this, I would be able to concede to a worthy opponent.
Oh, my God.
But I do not have a worthy opponent to which I can concede. This was the most deeply deceitful, dishonorable, despicable campaign I have ever seen run for the courts. It was truly beneath contempt. Now, I say this not because we did not prevail.
Yeah, right.
I do not say this because of the rancid slanders that were launched against me.
Rancid.
Although that was bad enough. But that is not my concern. My concern is the damage done to the institution of the court. My opponent is a serial liar.
Oh, my God.
She's disregarded judicial ethics. She's demeaned the judiciary with her behavior. And this is the future that we have to look forward to in Wisconsin.
You dodged a bullet, Wisconsin.